The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
No birthday is complete without a cake. It's a tradition that goes back to ancient Egyptians who used them to celebrate their gods. The Romans would serve cakes made from flour, nuts, yeast, and sweetened with honey at special birthdays. And 18th century Germans were known for birthday cakes with candles. But it was America who gave us the glorious box cake mixes. Invented during the Depression and exploding after World War II, giving the home cook an arsenal of new desserts. And because this is our 52nd episode and the first birthday of our pod, it only seems fitting to explore two of the most iconic box cakes in the business. And that's why this week's On Brand is a birthday brand battle. Duncan Hines versus Betty Crocker.
You're all jazzed up, really having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa.
I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa. Happy birthday, baby.
Birthday. Can you believe it? It is actually insane to me. But when we started this, we were like, coming up with like brands we would do, like 52. That's a lot. And I feel like in podcast world, it's not like a ton, but 52.
I'm very proud of us.
I'm so proud of us. We're the best. And it's actually we actually started like 3 months before they started dropping.
Oh, yeah.
So it's even longer than that. But man, a year. What a year it has been.
Get us on Hoda.
Oh my God.
Hoda
Bucket
and Jenna.
list. Okay, so for next year, I want to get on Hoda and Jenna and their amazing podcast segment. And I want to be nominated for a Webby.
Oh, that would be really great.
These are my goals for next year.
We still haven't played pickleball, and that was our New Year's resolution.
I know. And I was actually at one point thinking about doing pickleball as an episode, and I started looking into it, and I was like,
If you're too tired to research pickleball, I don't see us playing pickleball.
That's a very good point. I gotta say, now that this year I've seen more footage of people playing pickleball, it doesn't look fun. It looks like tiny tennis, and it looks hard. Like, I thought people were like, it's easy, like, chubby people can do it, but it looks exhausting.
You want it to be even tinier.
I want chair ball. Hello, sharks. Are you tired of running around a court? I want to be able to sit down.
That's a really good idea.
Play a game.
That's a really good idea.
So I guess like Wii. I just need to replug in my Wii.
I'm sore after Wii.
I know.
I really go for it.
I know.
Well, good for us. Happy birthday. We are celebrating today. We have a really fun episode. But first, let's talk a little bit about birthday cake.
Okay, so I am a cake boy. I love cake. I also love pie, though, too. I know some people are like, I hate pie or I hate cake or one or the other. I'm the opposite of everything I see everyone else do. There's people like, there's way too much frosting on this, and they scrape off half the frosting. I scrape that onto my cake and get double the frosting. Alistair's one of those people. He's like, I just need a lick of frosting and I'm satisfied. I'm like, just give me the tub. Yeah, you used to let me lick your beaters.
I did used to let you lick my beaters. It's been a while.
It's been so long since I've licked your beaters. But yeah, I love.
That's my New Year's resolution.
For me to lick your beaters.
Yeah, I'm due.
That's mine too. I love cake. I love cupcakes. I love it all.
This is the questions you ask. If anybody is going to an event, you say, bring me home some cake. And they'll say, like, it's not really that kind of thing. And you're like, find a paper cup.
Find a way.
Find a way. Find a plate. Find 2 plates sandwiched together. Bring me home some cake. If somebody has a cake, you say, what kind of frosting? Is it whipped or buttercream? One of those answers is right and one is wrong.
There is no point in whipped frosting. It is so stupid. Like, the whipped cream frosting makes me livid. You're already in it for the cake. It's like, just have the rest of the sugar.
But don't you think it's nice with like a strawberry filled cake to have like a nice light whipped cream, and then you can have a big old fat slice?
I don't need a big fat slice. I just want a normal. Well, I'll still have a big slice, but with normal frosting. It's not like, there's whipped cream, I can have more. It's like, I'm gonna have the same amount.
Buttercream can be a bit cloyingly sweet sometimes.
You know, Sprinkles Cupcake sells, you worked there. They sell frosting shots where you can just get the frosting.
Yeah, we did serve a few frosting shots back in our day.
Yeah.
It was like the size of like a side of ketchup from like a In-N-Out burger, like one of those little paper. It was the same little paper cup. And you would just smear a little frosting dollop in that.
Yeah. I don't even know that I have like a favorite. Like I like chocolate, I like vanilla, I like carrot. My grandma used to make a caramel cake, which is I think a Southern thing.
Yummy.
You've made like a family, I think one of your husband's grandma's cakes, that
yeah.
thin chocolate cake.
This is, if you look up a recipe, it'll be called like Texas sheet cake. And the recipe is really, if you're looking for like a chocolate cake to make and you don't want to get a box cake to make, this is a really fun one. And this was not on my radar at all. You cook the batter and pour it into like a sheet pan like you would bake cookies on. And so it's a really thin cake. And then you also cook the frosting. The frosting is poured on the cake while the cake is still warm. It crystallizes into this like fudgy sheet that like kind of crackles when you like dip into it with a fork. And it is so good.
It's so good.
That's a favorite. I love chocolate cake too. When we were shopping for cakes for this episode, because we are going to have a taste test at the end, a blind taste test to determine one true winner, you specified no yellow cake.
I don't have any interest in yellow cake.
But why?
I mean, I'll eat it, but if I'm like have my choice, why would I pick that?
Isn't it just vanilla with extra yolks?
I wouldn't pick I wouldn't pick vanilla probably.
Okay.
I mean, my favorite is actually like I like a chocolate cake with a vanilla frosting.
That is good. So you'll eat it in a pinch, but it's not your fave.
Oh, I'm not eating it. I'm not like yellow cake, goodbye. No, I'm still taking a slice home.
Well, this is I do agree with you on a lot of things. I love ice cream cake.
I hate ice cream cake.
For so many consecutive birthdays, I would get a Baskin Robbins ice cream cake. It was not the kind that was a sheet. It was the kind that was in a roll. It was chocolate cake with mint and chip ice cream. The frosting, the icing, it was like, it wasn't even buttercream. It wasn't even whipped cream. It was like a glossy kind of like fudgy ganache that would be all like cold and kind of stretchy. It was so good. And I had that, it must have been for like 8 birthdays.
I think my issue with ice cream cake is I feel like I've only been served ice cream cake at an office birthday party. They keep them in the freezer until the moment of serving. And I've read on the box, like, set out for like an hour before you're going to serve it. Because I think that ice cream is supposed to melt a little bit into the cake. And like, I do think that would be a much better experience.
It might be something too. It's like, if you're eating it at an office, it's like somebody's like popping by your cubicle and being like, hey, we're going to have a little cake for Brenda's birthday. And it's just like,
I just remember that time Brenda like made me look stupid in front of the boss.
You
and
hate Brenda and you have to sing her happy birthday.
I used to lick her beaters, but now like we don't even talk. Like we see each other in the hallway and don't even say hi.
Yeah, so maybe that put a little bad taste in your mouth, so to speak, about ice cream cake. But I still stand by it. I think it is so yummy and nostalgic.
A lot of people love it. They must, or they wouldn't sell them. Maybe it's also because it's a much harder cake to steal.
Yeah, you definitely can't shove a little ice cream cake in your pocket for later.
Yeah.
That actually might be the only reason why you don't like it. Honestly, you might have never had it because all the cake you have, you steal and people bring you.
That is true.
Interesting.
I always eaten stolen cake.
Though, honestly, if you stuck a piece of ice cream cake in like a little paper cup at a wedding or something, for some reason a wedding was serving ice cream cake, and you let it melt completely and you slurped it down like an hour later, I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that might be.
It'd be like a little milkshake with
mix
cake
with
chunks.
The cake and you mix it together. It's kind of like
it's like a DQ Blizzard.
Like a DQ Blizzard.
That sounds
but
good.
I mean, a wedding with an ice cream cake. Let's talk to them. Like, what were we
What
thinking?
is your story?
I was home recently for the eclipse. Yes, I saw totality for 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Forever changed.
Forever changed. Literally, I have like these spots in my eyes because I looked at the sun too fast. But while I was home, I went through hundreds and hundreds of photos at my mom's house and came across just so many photos of me and my siblings at different birthdays, our birthdays at different ages, where it's just like us and the siblings all gathered around.
And you're one of 5.
So
this is a big family. There's a lot of birthdays.
Yeah. And it was just like always a big cake on the table. Like clearly my mom like always made sure that we had that.
Yeah.
And unless I'm crazy, I was trying to remember today if I'm making this up, but I think, and I'll have to confirm with her, that the rule was if it was your birthday, you could grab cake with your hand. So that first like bite, you didn't have to wait to be sliced. You could punch into the cake with your hand and eat a fistful of cake.
Oh my God. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and how fun too to be like the special one. You have like 4 brothers and sisters, and on your special day, you get to just eat cake like an animal.
Yeah.
Is that how you would like want to eat cake? Like I'm looking at Alistair. I feel like there's no way he would ever want to dig into cake with his hands. I've never done that.
Alistair would show up at every party with moist towelette shoved in his pockets, ready
As
to go.
a wee boy.
Yeah, I mean, at that age, for sure. And the pictures are so cute because it's like whoever's birthday it is right in the middle, and then the siblings are around or next to them, and they're either just like so wide-eyed looking at the cake, or like you can tell we're all just so excited for what's about to happen.
They'd get to dig into the public cake, or would they get their own slice they could eat with their hands? You could just like two fists in the public cake.
It's like, I mean...
But then everybody has to kind of cut around the crumbles.
It was a different time, babe. Like, what are you worried about? It's like a family. We're a family. We weren't like in the White House. We're in Ridgecrest Drive.
I mean, yeah, I don't know who I'm one to talk. I literally throw food to my children in the bathtub that they eat out of the booty water.
My God, when I have to go to the bathroom in that bathroom and I look in that tub, sometimes I'm like, I can't figure out what the hell is happening.
That tub tells a story. This is a fun tip for any moms out there. If your kids didn't eat enough vegetables at dinner, this is something I started doing just in a fit of rage at their like rejection of anything fresh. I put on a funny character. So I pop my head in the door and I go, and I throw blueberries at them. And then the blueberries bob in the booty water, and then they eat them like with glee. And then they say, "Mom, this crazy lady came in and she threw fruit at us."
Oh, that's
it's really
so
fun.
cute.
So we have a lot of fun things for you to do with your kids. Let them eat cake with their hands on their birthday, and throw food at them in the bathtub.
That's great.
That's great.
And maybe they'll end up with their own podcast that's celebrating a year.
Right? Look how you turned out. Look how they'll turn out. It's great.
Yeah. So this is our second brand battle, but we're, I think, doing it a little different than last time. Last time we had a lot of rules and categories, and we were kind of fighting it out to be the winner.
This is a party.
We're having a birthday brand party today. We both have been assigned a brand. I'm Duncan Hines.
I'm Miss Betty Crocker.
Oh my God, that's how we should have started the show. Hi, I'm Duncan Hines. And
Hi, I'm Betty Crocker. Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm Betty Crocker.
Today. So I think we're both kind of just representing our brands. Like we're both kind of, doing what we normally do. We'll walk you through the history, some fun facts. We're going to do a taste test. The brandies out there can tell us what brand they think is the best, but it's all in good fun and celebration. Speaking of, so it's our first year. Like we've done a year of shows. We've sat here takes us about an hour and a half to record an episode. So we've been here for 100 hours talking about brands.
That is astounding.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite moments? I was thinking about this week. One of my favorite moments was early on in the run when I did the Converse episode. And I was doing a lot of research at the time. I was going to I'm saying that like I don't do that now, but there was a period where I did too much research, I think. And then I started to pull back, but now I just do a lot again. And I was telling you all the things I thought were so fascinating about Chuck Taylor. And I was like, this is going to knock her socks off. And I'm like, and he did this and he did that. And I just keep going on. And then at some point you just cut me off and you're like, why? And you were so couldn't figure out why this man did all this stuff. And it caught me so off guard that I honestly don't remember laughing that much in the last 10 years. I just laughed so hard. And it's such a fun moment for me in this journey that we've been on.
I still don't know why he did it. I would literally after that moment, I would be tossing and turning at night, being like, did I go too far? Was I being a bitch? And then I'm like, no, I'm right. Go back home. Be with your family.
Babe, his name is still on shoes.
I don't care.
What is your name on?
Nothing, as it should be.
Wow. So do you have any standout moments?
I am just so grateful anytime you break down with embarrassment, revealing an inner truth that you thought you could keep to yourself and take to your grave. There have been so many over the years. I mean, what you have in your storage unit. The first time you said, I have 10, dying laughing. It was one of in regards to how many Pete pillows you got. We later found out it was 11. You lied.
No, I got a new one this year.
Okay, sure. You had 10. When you said, I have 10, and you were just dying laughing, that was my first big, oh my God, this is so special that you're being so honest and vulnerable. And when you got the Tom Cruise cake for my birthday, it was so special because you drove across town and I had been wanting to try that cake forever. That was so sweet. I've just been loving hanging out with you because, Jon, you're my best friend and you're really hard to pin down. And I love that I have a standing appointment to just have you all to myself.
That's why you're doing the pod, because it guarantees I'll show up here at 3:00 every
It
Sunday?
is. I'm dangling a carrot of fame and fortune right in front of you.
Wow.
What if you found out that there is that like it never gets broadcast? Like this is just me and you. And all the reviews are fake and like it's actually there's no Apple, whatever.
All the brandies are just you and Alistair and David.
With fake Instagram accounts.
Oh my God.
That would be really beautiful.
I was just thinking how sad my role in that
That you edit it?
When I show up here at 3:00 to just sit here so that you two can hang out.
Yeah, we barely even talk to you. Well, it has been fun going with what you're saying about revealing the weirdness of myself. And I do love the feeling of when I realize what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm. That's my favorite moment, when you're thinking about saying something and you laugh like that and you're like, should I say it? And then you just do. And that is what makes you so special. That's what all the brandies love about you, is that you are so vulnerable, even about the things that maybe should, for good reason, be embarrassing.
I mean, you know what? We're all getting older. I keep telling my friend Christine, we're all going to be dead soon.
Yeah,
it's
who cares how many peeps you get?
Just put it out there. And after you see the eclipse, I mean, it's like...
Puts it all in perspective.
You just see things differently. It's like, who cares?
I would agree. Yeah, it makes you wanting to keep secret, how many pressed pennies you have. Seem very trivial.
Yeah. Well, I've really enjoyed doing this with you and really discovering, like, knowing that we had this mutual interest in this, but really kind of like making it a thing that other people find interesting too, and meeting all these brandies online who like have connections to the different brands that we do. And we're constantly hearing from people about, oh, I really like this one, you should do that. And just the whole like community that I think we made with it has just been amazing.
Well, I hope we have a summit by 2026. We can all gather
and figure it out. Actually, we'll talk about it at the end. This is our last episode.
Going out with a bang.
No, but for real, here we go. Let's get down to it.
Okay, you gonna kick it off?
Am I starting?
Mr. Duncan?
Okay, so here we are. We're going to do a birthday brand battle with boxed cake mixes. As I mentioned, I am Duncan Hines, and let me walk you through his story.
Take me.
Very different than I was expecting. I was expecting, like, most of these things that you read with these particular things, because I think yours is going to be one of them, where they're like, Duncan Hines wasn't an actual person. He was like... It was made by Duncan, like someone Duncan and Bill Hines. Like they just made this like entity so that customers could call and ask questions or whatever. But
you kept teasing this episode and saying, Duncan Hines' story is quite shocking. And I'm like, what could it be? It's boxed cake mix.
You have no idea.
This is a buckle up moment.
Pull
over.
Literally buckle up. You know why? Because Duncan Hines was not only a real man, he was a traveling salesman.
Okay.
So let's hit the road. So we all know Duncan Hines. His name is on iconic foods, now basically mostly known for boxed cakes. But as I mentioned, he was a real person. And what is interesting about him is for most of his life, he's not someone that was even associated with food. He's like... actually wasn't even able to cook very well, let alone have his name on a brand of food.
Okay.
So he was actually an office supply traveling salesman. Salesman. He was a traveling salesman. And it wasn't until his 50s that he became an author and a food critic.
That's inspiring.
I love stories when people don't do things. And my favorite, I always tell this story, my favorite professor in college, Leanne Schmidt, my photography professor, did not pick up a camera until she was 50.
Wow.
And by the time I met her, she had been in galleries and like traveled the world and done photography. And I always found that so inspiring.
I love that. It's like Julia Child. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. There's still time for us, is what we're saying.
I know.
To figure out what we're good at.
Yeah, we got to quit this pod and get out on the road.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
All right, so his mom passes away when he's young, and he ends up being raised by his grandmother. And that's where up until that point, food was food. It was you ate your meal and that was it. But his grandmother really like instilled in him like a love of food and like a passion for food, and seeing food as probably comforting. So then jump to him being adult. He starts working as a traveling salesman, selling office supplies. And this has him zigzagging across the country and eating meals on the road. This is like the 1930s to the 1950s. And this is a time where more people are getting their cars and going on more road trips. So there's like this big boom of restaurants and diners popping up. Like this is the time when that happened.
Love a diner.
Who doesn't?
God, heaven.
But the issue was there was really no food regulation at the time. So the quality of food at these places is all over the map. You might find a place that was like, God, that was the best fried chicken I've ever had. Or like, I think I'm going to die. Like I'm in bed sweating and shitting the bed. So there was and obviously there's no Yelp at the time. There's no like real like food review. So this
Shit the bed. 1 star.
I give this restaurant 3 shits. So he decided that was an issue that needed to be fixed.
Agreed.
So he starts carrying a journal around with him and making notes on the taste and quality of the food at all these different places. He turns this into a pamphlet, starts including it in his Christmas cards that he sends out to friends and families and business associates and whatever. And it becomes so popular that he turns it into a book that he called The Adventures in Good Eating.
Wow.
It comes out in 1936, and from that year on, it's updated annually and is released every year.
Imagine if somebody sent you a pamphlet with their Christmas card.
I mean, honestly, it would probably get opened in March because I get Christmas card. I go home for like 2 weeks. So so many times I have a handful of Christmas cards that I stick to open when I get back, or they came when I was gone, and then I don't get around to opening them.
Insane.
I know, and I feel terrible about it.
Don't you open your mailbox like once a month?
The book proved to be so successful that he ended up doing the same thing for hotels. So he had this whole separate book that he called Lodging for a Night, where he would review hotels. And apparently, like, the categories he would use to review these were like things I'm like, is this a hotel where they only allow people to stay that have luggage? Because he'd like, for his morals, he didn't want people that were like just there for like a good time evening. Like
we know what that means.
We know exactly what that means.
Wow, he's like Timmy TripAdvisor. Wow.
He really is Timmy TripAdvisor. I'm glad you brought that up. He would go on to write a newspaper column called Adventures in Good Eating at Home, which was fun, where he would take some of the featured restaurant recipes and adapt them for home cooks so that they could make these like fun foods from the road at home. So yeah, he kind of like, it's one of those stories where wasn't involved in this at all, in his 50s, kind of finds a need, fulfills it, becomes very famous from it.
Wow.
Okay, so that's kind of the Cliff's Notes version of how he came to be. Now, the question you might be asking yourself right now, along with our listeners, is, what was Duncan Hines like? I mean, probably. I'm assuming from your laughter that's not what you were thinking.
Yeah, I could have gotten there.
That's interesting, John, but what was this man like?
Yeah, what was he like?
I mean, he eats food for a living, like gets to have food around the country, probably a jolly old guy.
Yeah.
Well, according to biographer Lewis Hatchett, Duncan Hines absolutely let the success of his books go to his head. He was accused of hiring his secretaries based on how attractive he found them.
Oh, wow.
His second wife divorced him, citing cruelty
Oh, dear.
as a reason.
Oh.
He had a nephew that came and worked with him, but only for a short time because of the abuse he claimed that he suffered at Hines's hands.
My God.
And he would only hire people who he considered successful because he felt that they could be trusted, and anyone unsuccessful absolutely could not be trusted.
That I do agree with.
Well, the problem was this is also kind of during the time of post-depression, so a
Yeah.
lot of people are struggling. So
Nobody's doing great.
yeah, there was a lot of quote-unquote unsuccessful people.
He's a
out there.
certifiable D-bag.
Yeah. So 1949, Duncan Hines licenses his image to Hines Park Foods. The first product that they introduced was actually ice cream, a premium ice cream.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was more expensive than other ice creams. It had more milk fat, butter fat. What's in ice cream? One of those. But everyone loved it, and they were happy to pay for it, and it flew off the shelves, just boosting this guy's ego even more.
So he didn't even, make the ice cream.
No.
He had nothing to do with the ice
It
cream.
had nothing to do with any of this.
Wow.
The brand grew to over 250 products, not just food. They sold coffee makers, Duncan Hines cooking ranges, pickles, mushrooms, everything that you can imagine.
Mushrooms?
I know. It's just what it said.
Mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
Maybe jarred mushrooms.
Yeah, not just like a loose mushroom.
With a Duncan Hines.
Make sure it's a Duncan. 1951, the cake mixes hit the market. Duncan Hines, the man, literally has nothing to do with their creation. Most of the commercial cake mixes at the time contained powdered milk and powdered eggs and were very popular. A food chemist named Arnie Andre perfected the Duncan Hines mix that called for fresh eggs, and it was so popular that within weeks of hitting the shelves, they had taken over about half of the market for cake mixes. So,
what I heard to be an urban legend is that housewives at the time, sure they were all housewives, making the mixes, they felt like they couldn't really present a cake with pride if it was too easy to make, if it was a just add water mix.
Right.
So by making the mix, adapting the recipe so you would crack eggs, it made the women feel a little bit more like they could take full credit for the recipe, like they did a little bit more baking.
Right.
It's a very widely perpetuated, what I saw to be myth. Even Michael Pollan, a very famous food writer who talks about the history of food, even kind of kept that lore going. What I read said that it was just kind of like trends in taste, and there was Pillsbury, which had egg powder in the mix, was doing very well at the time. The other ones were not doing as well. So I think it was just maybe just changing taste in general, but it wasn't like they needed to take pride in whatever, cracking an egg. I don't know. Yeah. If you were there, write to us.
If you can answer this, please.
I will say the idea of a powdered egg is not quite yummy to me, but that might just be my modern snobbery.
That is, because I can't think of anything I'd rather have than a big bowl of powdered eggs. Don't even add water, just the powder.
Oh, just a dusty egg.
Well, the Duncan Hines brand knew that they had found their strength, easy-to-make bake products. A year later, they followed up with pancake mix, and in the following year, they released blueberry muffin mix, and the rest is history.
Wow, okay.
They became a powdered, easy-to-bake thing for the world.
That should be on their box. A powdered, easy-to-bake thing for the world.
Sorry, I'm nervous. And the rest, as they say, is history. They became a powdered, easy-to-bake thing. I gotta keep doing it. Yeah, that's Duncan Hines. That's what I got. I've got some fun facts for later, but that's, in a nutshell, the history of Duncan Hines.
Oh, wow. That's shocking. I would never have guessed. I think that maybe is will you say traveling salesman? Based on every episode we've done before, my instinct was that maybe this guy traveled from town to town with a wheelbarrow full of cakes.
Nope.
But that is so not the case.
Just buckets of cake powder mix. Come on, man. Hello, ma'am. Do you have a cup of water? Nope. He was selling printers and toner and just a 50-year-old man hustling the hustle.
And he was a bad boy.
And there's something about food critics. There's something about food critics
that you don't like?
Yeah. There's something about food critics.
What is it about them specifically?
It's who are you? It's there's lots of things I don't like, but now if I become famous enough, other people won't like it.
Well, that reminds me of when we were in an episode of Top Chef for Restaurant Wars when they were filming in LA, and we were served an amazing meal.
God, that was the best meal. The funny story about that meal is that
I know what's funny. You used the bathroom after Tom Colicchio.
I don't know why that's the one thing that you always say. For me, the best part of that story was my meal came with a clear barbecue sauce. It's just a clear liquid, but it tasted exactly like barbecue sauce. I thought it was the best thing I ever had. I actually asked if I could have seconds and got seconds, which I think was a first on Top Chef.
Yeah.
And then we watched the episode and Padma was like, there's nothing more vile than that clear barbecue sauce.
They thought it was disgusting and you were licking your plate like a common peasant.
I know. It made me feel I don't know anything about food.
I'll post a picture. I have a screen cap of us. I took a picture of the TV when we were in the episode.
But that goes exactly with what I was just saying, because Padma's on TV. Now, none of those people are going to have clear barbecue sauce, and the common gay man like me is licking his chops to get it. So Listen to what you want.
It would be like, it was like barbecue sauce flavored Gatorade, which doesn't sound good, but it was like clear and like lightly brown, but really savory and really like, you know what I mean?
No, I don't know.
It was
what
clear.
you're
It was
talking
crystal
about.
clear.
How did grade? Oh, you're describing
Describing
it. I thought
it.
you were trying to sell a
Like
new
pitch
product.
it, gravy Gatorade.
Yeah. Gravy-aid? I'm in. All right, so that's my guy. Let's hear about Miss Betty Crocker.
All right, let's throw on your aprons. Let's head back to the 1920s, the roaring 1920s.
I can't wait to hear about this, what I'm assuming is a true life woman.
Okay, well, pull over, buckle up.
Strap on your apron.
Strap on your apron. So the story begins in October of 1921. An edition of the Saturday Evening Post, I mean, what a cute magazine, was published with a unique gold medal flower ad in it. So Gold Medal Flour, this is a flour company we know today. The ad contained a mixed-up jigsaw puzzle that you would cut out of paper and then glue back together and mail back to the company. How cute is that? Al, you love puzzles. You love jigsaw puzzles. Is this the kind of thing that would catch your eye in 1921?
Sounds boring, but...
I love the idea of like this many people cutting up these little jigsaw pieces and gluing them together.
Yeah.
30,000 people did it.
Wow.
They mailed the completed puzzles back to the flour company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. In return for their completed puzzle, they would receive a pincushion in the shape of a bag of gold medal flour. I did look on eBay. They're for sale for $35. They are so darling. Honestly, this is a good contender for your cabinet of curiosities. If I had a cabinet, this would go in it. It's so cute. It looks just like a little mini bag of flour.
That's cute.
It's so cute. So along with those 30,000 completed puzzles came several hundred letters with cooking-related questions. So people were asking, why does the top of my cake crack? Do you have a recipe for cherry pie? Which this is so... Like, if you were not alive before the internet, this is what you did if you didn't know something, okay? It was not... The answer was not at your fingertips. You had to wait for a contest in a magazine, write a letter how to make a cherry pie. And you didn't make a cherry pie until you got a letter back.
You know who this is? These are the same grandmas that wrote to the seed company to thank them for their good seeds.
Don't start crying again.
It's like such a different time.
It's so darling. It just makes me hate the present so much.
Yeah.
Take me back to everything about 1921. No notes.
Give me a quill. No notes.
So the company's advertising department convinced its board of directors to create a personality that the women answering the letters could use in their replies. So Betty Crocker was created by Marjorie Houston, and I want everybody to know her name because she is not prominent in every website's recollection of the history of Betty Crocker. And then when you do learn about her, you learn that she basically like made every important decision in the history of the company.
Of course she did.
So she's an unsung hero. We should all know her name. Get her name tattooed on your ass. She deserves it. She was a home economist at Washburn Crosby Company. This is the company that would later become General Mills. The name Crocker was chosen. You were partially right. The name Crocker was chosen in honor of a retired executive, William G. Crocker. And Betty was chosen because it sounds friendly. And Betty is a very friendly sounding name. So then everybody who was responding to these letters would sign it Betty Crocker. And Betty Crocker has an archive of these letters.
Oh,
and
they
they are just so wonderful. I'm sure like if you go to the museum, there's just like thousands over the years, but you can find a few of them online.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Something that we make fun of all the time. The questions that people send into Parade Magazine. But it's like Parade Magazine did exist when the internet happened, but everyone that writes in, it's as if they don't know that exists.
I
Because
know.
they would say the same thing.
Exactly. They're like, can't get these spots out of my oven. What do I do?
Yeah. Is Jodie Foster going to be in any new projects this year? It's like, just Google it.
I love it.
I love Parade
It's
Magazine.
a grandma sitting at a table with a pen.
Oh, with no internet.
It's
I
so
actually have
sweet.
Parade Magazine in my original list of brands I wanted to do for this show.
So one letter from 1929 said, I don't make your fudge cake because I like white cake. My neighbor makes fudge cake. Is there any danger of her capturing my husband? That is so cute. She's worried that because maybe her husband likes chocolate cake, that he's going to leave her for the neighbor.
Oh my
And
gosh.
in that time, in 1929, he might.
Wow. Wait, 1929. So
1929.
we're 67 years away from
Titanic.
being
Yeah,
released.
if you just need a benchmark.
I need that to ground me as to where we are on the timeline.
It's like our BC AD.
Yeah.
This is BT, before Titanic.
BT. Okay, so 67 years BT.
Men also wrote in for like dating and marriage advice. So Betty Crocker really started to kind of like become a personality. And There was a time where she got anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 letters per day.
Wow.
The only
What?
per day. Let that sink in. Let that
No,
sink
I
in.
am going to let that sink in. That's a lot of letters.
Imagine if
5,000 questions?
You would have to check your mail more often if you were getting 4,000 to 5,000 letters per
Oh,
day.
man, would I ever?
The only known amount of mail that's more than that is the amount that the Roosevelts got during the war, and that was 7,000 a day. What? Betty Crocker was getting almost as much mail as the Roosevelts during the war.
Wow, that's incredible.
And every single letter got answered. Betty, of course, she had her team of recipe testers, cooking experts who would advise home cooks, give like cooking advice, give them advice on recipes. And her message was, you can do it and I can help. So this was her personality started to kind of take shape.
What a great slogan. You
Isn't
can
that
do
so
it, I
good?
can help.
You can do it and I can help. It was very empowering. This was a time where women were really intimidated by their like new kitchen appliances. So a lot of them, they like didn't know what to do with like the ovens, the stoves.
Right.
It was like kind of overwhelming for them. Corporate created this identity that is just so lovely and so three-dimensional. She is warm, friendly, highly skilled in the kitchen, but not intimidating. She takes such great pride in the work she does for her home. She sees homemaking as an art that takes talent, wisdom, dedication, so many other things, and it is a noble and challenging career. She even had this thing you could apply for. It was like the Homemakers Coalition or whatever, where you would like fill out a thing and send it in the mail, and she would send you back a pin, and it was like you're a certified like homemaker. She really wanted like these moms and women who were at home to feel like not intimidated by feeding their family, and just I feel really empowered their role in the kitchen.
I miss the days when you could just write a company and get some cool trinket in the mail.
No, they never send you anything anymore.
Nothing good, like a coupon.
In 1924, Betty got her voice. She appeared in daytime radio's first cooking show, the Betty Crocker Cooking School of the Air. So this is kind of maybe when the public is really starting to be deceived that Betty is a real person. And I unfortunately had to break the news to my 74-year-old mother that Betty Crocker is not real. Oh. So I think there might be people listening to this now that are like still kind of reeling with that realization.
You had to interrupt Bobo as she was in the middle of writing a letter to Parade Magazine to tell her that Betty Crocker is not a real woman.
I said, oh, I'm doing Betty Crocker as my episode. I said, you know she wasn't real. And she goes, no.
That's what you start with?
Yeah.
You know she's fake.
You know she's fake, right? I'm like a bitchy teenager wanting to humiliate my mom. No, I thought that like that kind of became maybe more public knowledge, but obviously they weren't like making really great effort to like be transparent about that.
Right.
Yeah, it feels cozier if you think it's like a real woman. And why not? They cast it as a woman, and
it is feeling, now that I'm hearing the story, it is feeling very Frankenstein. It was like the image was created by this person. The name comes from two different people. The signature's a whole nother woman.
Yes.
Their voice is now another actress. It's like, how many people does it take to make a cake?
It's a really, really good point. Each station had its own Betty Crocker, too. So it was like a network of Betty Crockers, reading scripts written by the home service staff. So at this point, they have like, it's its own company. It's like they're developing recipes, test kitchens.
There is your movie. The Bettys. Matt Damon is like a casting director. He's casting all these Bettys. He falls in love with one. Another one falls in love with him. There's jealousy. Oh, my God. The batter will fling. I've got a tagline, I've got a title, and I've got a star attached.
I love it. I'm in.
I'm not, kind of not even kidding. I think it's great. The Bettys.
The cooking school became a program on NBC radio network. I didn't know NBC was a radio network first.
You didn't?
I didn't know. I thought it was just a TV station.
The National Broadcasting Company?
1927. It was a fledgling NBC network, so it was not doing well. And it was on for 24 years with more than 1 million listeners in this like cooking school on the radio. 24 years?
That's insane.
That's a lifetime. It wasn't until Betty's 15th anniversary in 1936 that she finally got an image. A prominent commercial artist at the time, Nasa McMine, commissioned to create a portrait. Her rendition put Betty in a red jacket with a little white collar. And if I'm even thinking about Betty Crocker, in my mind, she's wearing this. She has like red and white. In the first picture, it was like a little more old-fashioned looking, obviously. But now, if you see like new Betty Crocker, it's like a little red cardigan and a little white tank top.
In
so
the 90s, was she wearing like Jenkos? Like, have she like throughout the decades, has she been dressed appropriately?
She has had many different renditions over the years. And for 1996, I think that's the most recent one. They did a strange thing, which, I mean, God bless them. They were like, we're going to take 200 pictures of prominent women in history, and we're gonna like use computer technology. It was kind of like when that felt like really at the forefront to like merge together like a new woman, which feels especially Frankenstein to make like a non-woman.
Well, it just feels like AI now.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that that's probably how they will do the next one.
Oh, for
Do
sure.
you think that Betty Crocker will go through that horrible Hazinga phase that the Folgers did and like come up with like a tagline that's like, it's cake, bitch?
God, I hope not. They did do something that was truly disgusting, a product tie-in, where they made a special edition Betty Crocker T-Mobile 5G cake mix. I mean, isn't that hell?
What flavor is that?
It was pink, T-Mobile pink.
Collab with Pink.
That's a really good
Just
point.
collab with Pink.
But the point for the T-Mobile tie-in was that it would teach the customers about how 5G works. By like the layers of the cake is like how 5G like layers, and I don't even know. That's the thing. I don't have to understand 5G. I don't care. I don't know how a damn CD works. Like you don't have to like teach me. Just like do it.
I don't know how chickens. There's so many things that I don't get in this world, and I'm fine with it.
You are doing just fine.
I'm doing just fine.
So that was like her kind of like attempt at being kind of trendy that really just made me recoil.
That feels like a new management for a short period of time. Like I'm going to come in and I'm going to make some changes.
And honestly, it might have been, they said it was like a limited edition release. You could like get a box like by like tweeting at them, which to me essentially is that they don't exist. Like a box of this special 5G cake mix.
Yeah.
It could have just been like a mock-up in Photoshop that they posted to Twitter and were like, tweet at us if you want a free cake mix. And like nobody did. And so it just never got made.
Well, I know we're not doing our normal brand battle thing here, but I do just want to interject because that is a collab that Betty Crocker did. I didn't mention the collab that Duncan Hines did, which was with the iconic Dolly Parton. So to me, that's like
you win that round.
Yeah, you've got Dolly Parton banana flavored cake, yellow cake, coconut cake, frostings, the whole line.
You told the story where you got your Dolly Parton frosting taken from you at TSA.
I still am gobsmacked by how that happened. Like they literally took, I could not find Dolly Parton frosting anywhere in California. Found it in Ohio, and they took it out of my thing, looked at it. It's a sealed container.
Honey, it ain't a liquid. I'll tell you that much.
Liquid.
If you can hold it upside down and it doesn't fall out, it's a solid, bitch.
Talk about, you know me and how I can kind of go off the handle or have ragey issues. Talk about trying to find the balance between how angry I can get
at an
and
airport.
not going to jail
Yeah.
or going to the room at the airport.
An airport is a tough place for someone with rage issues.
I did say something along the lines of, I know you're just going to eat this when I leave. And I do think she did.
Yeah, she should. I hate seeing it go in the can. It's terrible. So 1946 is when we start to have the Betty Crocker test kitchens, and these are officially established at the General Mills office in downtown Minneapolis. And this is like becomes a popular tourist destination. People are coming from all over. During a 5-year span in the 40s and early 50s, more than 26,000 people visited the Betty Crocker test kitchen. So this is where they're trying out new recipes. It's kind of like a hub for like just a home cook advice.
So 26,000 people show up and like, where's Betty? When can we meet Betty? And they have to get like Janet from accounting to like come down and pretend to be Betty Crocker.
Well, I tried to look on TripAdvisor to see if I could see a picture of somebody with her. My understanding is you can still visit and somebody dresses up as Betty and is like Betty, giving you a little tour.
They should just have like a wax one or an animatronic.
I mean, if the Cabbage Patch Hospital has like a real woman pretend to like pull a baby out of a cabbage, they can have a woman put on a little red sweater.
That is
and call
a
herself
very
Betty.
good point. Very good point.
So now she's on the radio. 1940 surveys showed the name Betty Crocker was known to 9 out of 10 American homemakers. Betty Crocker, she's like a beyond a household name. She's like, people think she's a real person. She's a celebrity.
Yeah, I would put her in the category of Little Debbie. I would assume that they were lovers or mother and daughter or somehow related.
So Marjorie Hughes said she's the one, she's like pulling the strings on everything that's going on with Betty Crocker. As I said, she worked full-time for the company, but then she also promoted that housewives concentrate on hearth and home. So she created like what she called her Home Legion. She, during World War II, She had a rationing guide for women to like be able to cook delicious meals with like the food that was available. She had a cookbook called Let's Make Rationing Work, and like distributed it to 7 million copies of the booklet, like to households to be able to prepare delicious foods for their family, even during wartime.
I mean, yeah, because you have to remember, like, again, really putting yourself in that moment. Like, there's like foods and things that you just were not allowed to have or could not get. So that's a big deal.
Doesn't that seem so crazy too? I feel like you couldn't pull that off now.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's like not the same thing, but with COVID, like when all of a sudden you couldn't get like certain things, like
you were like trading like flour for a carrot.
Yeah, like people were hanging bags of like sourdough starter in their trees for neighbors to grab.
It was a really, really wild time. And I will say this, I mean, I really want people to know her name, as I said, get tattooed on your ass. Marjorie Husted, over her career, even though she like made Betty Crocker what it is today, undeniably, she was never paid even close to what she deserved. I think she made like a quarter of what her like male counterparts made. And it would not be what it is because she was a woman. She was a homemaker. She knew what would connect with women at the time.
Right.
So now Betty is known as the First Lady of Food. Now she's on television. She's portrayed by actress Adelaide Hawley. So she played Betty Crocker as one of history's only living trademarks. She was on various TV programs on CBS, ABC. She would like show celebrities how to cook. So this is like the lie really has picked up steam at this point.
Yeah,
if Lucille Ball is like being taught how to make a pineapple upside down cake by a woman who's like, I'm Betty Crocker, like to America, like who are we to think that she's lying?
And speaking of, talk about a cake I always forget about, but is so good. Pineapple upside down cake.
We should make that.
We should make that.
With little maraschino cherries in it. That's yummy. She didn't have her first cookbook, however, until 1950. World War II delayed the publication of Betty Crocker's Picture Cookbook. And this is like, you've probably seen it, if not like at a family member's house, but like at a thrift store. It's nicknamed Big Red because it's just like, it has kind of like an iconic cover that almost looks like wallpaper kind of. And it's just like one of those cookbooks that it would be like a wedding present you would get. Like you would be given a Big Red cookbook.
Yeah, I can picture it.
Yeah. Over 2.5 million copies were sold in the first year. Sales rivaled, this is 1950, first year sales rivaled those of the Bible.
Good.
Just to give you an idea.
Come on.
And today, over 200 products bear her name, along with thousands of recipe booklets, cookbooks. You know, she's still, I get maybe not as much of a cultural touchstone quite as much as then, but I think she's still definitely a household name. And the cookbook is in its 12th edition. It gets like updated every few years.
Well, I'm torn here because, you know, I have a lot of things that I'm thinking about. So she sounds like an incredible woman, but she's fake. So what's better here? Like the perfect fake woman or a real mean
a real piece of work guy.
Yeah, but he's like gone through it. Like he's lived life. She's like written out on paper. I'm torn.
That's interesting to think about. Like, would you rather have somebody who is idealized perfection or somebody, you know, who we can relate to? Maybe they yell at their nephew and abuse him a bit at work.
Cruel to their wife.
Cruel to their wife.
Who's not cruel to their wives?
You don't think you get pissed off working with your nephew? Come on.
Oh my God. Justin, are you kidding me? He's so tall.
How dare he be so tall?
How dare he? Justin, he just graduated college last week.
Oh,
congratulations,
Congrats.
Justin. Yeah, well, okay.
So what, you know what, I don't know if we mentioned this. We will put it up to the fans to decide also. So you're getting all this information. Marinate on this. And you can let us know who is coming out on top for you. So that's it for Betty Crocker. Do you have any fun facts for us, John?
You know, I do have some facts about Duncan Hines. No, some of them are fun. Some of them aren't. The first one's kind of fun. In 1939, he reviewed one particular place that's evolved into a family chain, writing, "A very good place to stop. Sizzling steaks, fried chicken, country ham, hot biscuits. That place was the Sanders Cafe, which would become KFC."
Wow, that is a fun fact.
That's a fun one. The downside to being a food critic, obviously, weight gain. So he would take 3 months off every year to get himself back in shape. During this time, he would eat healthy, but he had one indulgence. an absolutely disgusting cocktail that his wife concocted.
Okay.
This cocktail, created by his wife, Clara.
This poor woman. This poor woman.
Okay. All right. We don't know that he was cruel to her. We just know that he was cruel to the one that he divorced.
Okay.
This cocktail, created by his wife, Clara, called for gin, grenadine, the juice of a watermelon pickle, some lime juice, orange blossom honey, cream, and a whole egg.
A real health tonic.
And he wasn't just fond of these, he was known to drink a dozen or so at a time. And when I read that, I was like, that's a carton of eggs. Like, that's a whole carton.
Oh my God. Honestly, I think this is a movie.
Fun fact. Duncan. It's just called Duncan.
I love it. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, where are
Get him on
you?
the horn.
We're making your career. My last one. So he didn't make money. Like, he wouldn't charge people to be reviewed in his book. But he wanted to find a way to make money from them anyway. So obviously being included in his book was a big honor. And once you were, you could get the Duncan Hines seal of approval, which was like, you know, you go to and there's like a little sticker on the door, like Duncan Hines approved.
Okay.
In order to get that, the restaurants would have to pay him to have that seal, even though they earned it on their own merit. And then once they had the seal, they also had to carry his books.
Wow, this guy is shady.
At the time, your average family would earn about $3,000 a year. Just from this little side hustle, he earned $38,000 a year, which today is over $400,000.
Oh my God. This guy.
I mean, is he a genius or what?
We love him.
Vote Duncan. All right, what do you have for Betty?
Okay, I got a few fun facts for Betty.
Oh, while you're looking, just really quick, apparently he caused a train to wreck when he was a kid, too.
Wait, what?
Nothing. It doesn't matter. They say that he liked to grease the tracks. Hines apparently had some sort of fascination with trains. And according to his biographer, he was known for greasing train tracks as they went up a hill, slowing and stopping some of them completely. He caused at least one major accident when he put a snowman on the train tracks. The engineer approaching slammed on the brakes and some of the cars derailed.
Jesus Christ.
Vote Duncan.
I have some fun facts about Betty Crocker. An informal contest was held between female employees to find the most distinctive Betty Crocker signature for the letters. Florence Lindbergh's version was chosen, and it is still used today with only slight variations. So if you see a box of Betty Crocker, you'll see Florence Lindbergh's signature. To my knowledge, nobody involved in the company has ever killed anybody or
been called cruel
or abusive.
I mean, but she's fake. Again, I'm torn.
It's easy to be perfect when you're fake.
It's easy to be perfect when you're fake.
Speaking of that, Crocker is among the most famous fictional female characters in history. She held the #1 spot for years. Can you guess who dethroned her?
I'm going to say either Mickey Mouse or Ronald McDonald.
Fictional female characters. You think they're both girls? Mickey could be a girl. Haven't seen in the shorts.
We haven't seen their email signature. Fictional female character.
Flo.
Oh, no, not Flo. Mrs. Butterworth.
Mrs. Butterworth is in there, but Flo dethroned Betty Crocker. Flo. I know. She's still the front runner in food. She ranks higher than Mrs. Butterworth. And Catalina of Chicken of the Sea fame. Do you associate the fish on cans of Chicken of the Sea as being a woman?
I mean, honestly, I thought his name was Charlie.
You're thinking of Star-Kissed tuna.
Oh, is that a different brand?
Yeah, this is Chicken of the Sea. Which makes me think, do you think Charlie from Star-Kissed Tuna and Catalina ever hooked up?
If they did, I do think I know how that works. Like, she squirts out a bunch of eggs and then he, like, drips stuff on them, right?
Your Avatar research is showing.
Hey, don't tell them.
I think they know.
I've never heard of her. She is definitely not as popular as Charlie the Tuna.
Oh, certainly not.
Catalina?
I'll finish with another little fun fact that comes from a letter that was written to Dear Betty Crocker. And this was actually a phone call. So this was in 1990. I just found a Betty Crocker angel food cake mix in our bomb shelter. It must be over 20 years old. Is it okay to use? I didn't see Betty's response. That wasn't published, but the response will clarify. Dear Betty Crocker, on your advice, I went ahead and made the angel food cake mix that we found in our bomb shelter. It rose just beautifully. You were right. It worked after all these years because it was stored in a cool, dry place.
Wow.
So I don't know what the takeaway of that is. If you find an expired Betty Crocker cake mix, throw caution to the wind.
My own personal fun fact, I was house sitting recently, and I won't say for who because I don't want to shame them. And I saw that they had Worcestershire sauce, and I was like, I had needed some, but I'm never going to buy Worcestershire sauce because I only need it once every 10 years.
So what'd you do? Throw a few splashes in a Ziploc bag?
I was like, maybe I'll use their Worcestershire sauce. And then I looked at it. Guess when it expired?
2018.
2009. And this is like a clean,
Yeah, these aren't scrubs.
But I guess that's one of those things because no one uses a bunch of Worcestershire sauce.
Honestly, I would be worried if it was disappearing any faster than that.
Or if it was brand new, good until 2026.
Yeah, I don't
they're
know.
always buying Worcestershire sauce.
I think now it's time for us to go into our taste test. So we have both cakes lovingly baked by my husband earlier today. And I don't know which is which. You don't know which is which. They're labeled cake number 1 and number 2. As we're going to this, I will say that Betty Crocker is the most popular cake mix brand, according to the statistic.
Okay.
Over 99 million people used Betty Crocker Super Moist Cake Mix in the year 2020. So let's do a taste test.
Well, I'll just say quickly before we do the taste test, sometimes being the most popular doesn't always mean the best. Okay, now let's go ahead and have this
we'll do the
taste
taste
test.
test.
Okay, well, I'm feeling a lot better. We both have just had 2 slices of cake, thin slices. You cut very thin slices, but I'll take some home.
Well, it's funny, too, because I'm going out of town in one day, and I have 2 full-size chocolate cakes, 2 layer cakes.
That's my perfect scenario. You can't finish these, right? I'll go ahead and take these off your hands.
That was kind of as we were making, we were like, what are we going to do with all this cake? And then as soon as the words left our mouth, we were like, John will take them. John will take them.
Did you really?
Yes.
I mean, it couldn't be better because you also have Alistair who lives out back. It's he's not going to eat 2 cakes either.
Between the 2 of you, you'll make a nice dent in
Yeah,
these.
he does have a sweet tooth, though.
I'm just going to start saying that I find them both to be quite delicious.
Yeah. The one I'm picking is the one that I had the first bite from. And I don't know if that's because I was really hungry and that first bite, I felt like being on Survivor. I hadn't eaten anything good in 18 days. And that first bite was just so great. But yeah, they're very similar. Just very nuanced, which could come down to David cooked them and frosted them. Could come down to the bake or something. But I have the one I'm picking.
Okay, what's your choice?
I'm going to go with number 1.
Interesting. I was going to go with number 2.
That's perfect because then Al can be the tiebreaker.
Okay, Al, what's your choice? 1 or 2?
I like number 2.
Of course you do.
Okay.
I'm always on my own in this place. Of course you guys pick the same cake.
So Al, will pass the mic over to you and you can reveal which cake we chose.
Which brand reigns supreme?
Okay. Cake number 1, John's favorite.
I chose cake number 1. I am confident that actually I have no idea what it is. I actually think cake number 1 is Betty Crocker.
John, you are correct.
I knew it.
Cake number 1, Betty Crocker. Cake number 2, Duncan Hines.
We picked each other's cakes. And Duncan Hines won. I won! I didn't think of that in the taste test. My cruel, nephew-hating, abusive, manipulative man won. At least the taste contest.
I mean, can I even give him credit for making a cake? He had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, the guy who had nothing to do with making a cake won. Both of you fools.
It was a close competition, and yeah, they were both yummy. If you needed to make a cake for an office birthday party, I think you're safe with either.
Yeah, they are both very, very similar.
And we'll throw it over to you guys to decide. We'll put a little poll up on Instagram. Who's your pick in the big cake battle? Duncan Hines or Betty Crocker?
Yeah, and if you're a boxed cake mix person and there's some great cake out there we should try. There's so many different ones now. It's almost overwhelming. There's Cinnamon Toast Crunch and all these different
is?
Yeah, so
Whoa.
If you know of a great cake we should try, definitely let us know because we like baking a sweet on a Friday night and watching some dumb thing on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for this birthday special episode. Jon, it's been a wonderful year of hosting this podcast with you. Happy first birthday, and here's to many more.
I can't wait to many more years of On Brand with you. I know I joked in the beginning that this is the last one. I would die if this was the last episode. I have nothing else in my life except Taylor Swift and Peeps and all the things in my storage unit and all the things we talk about. So yes, I'm also looking forward to many more episodes.
And we have so many more brands to talk about. I just get excited every day thinking of brands I want to learn about and share with you guys.
And I would like to just do a big call out and thank you to our producer, Alistair, who 1,000,000% this show would not exist without. Marissa and I are lucky enough just to do several days of research and then sit down and perform and be on and all that. But Alistair really is the nuts and bolts of all of this. He sets everything up for us. He edits it. He makes us look better than we are, and we are indebted to him gratefully.
Mm-hmm. We definitely would not have a show without him. And he's single, so
And he's
if you're
single,
interested.
very particular. You must be a clean lady, but
No eating cake with your hands at your kids' birthday parties. Let's just say that.
no eating anything in bed. You can only eat over the sink, or no, he could probably stand next to you with a broom, but we'll figure those logistics out.
Yeah, that's for the wedding.
That's for the wedding night with your ice cream
Wedding
cake.
night. And of course, on this birthday, we want to say thank you to all the listeners, all to the brand freaks, the brandies who've written us the lovely messages over the year, who've commented on our posts and just shared your brand stories, or just even expressed that you're enjoying the pod. It really does. Every nice thing you say, we have to share with each other because it just makes our day. So thank you so much. We would not have this show without you guys.
I obviously agree with those sentiments. It is so fun to lay in bed and like scroll through and see what people have sent to us and responding to them and getting into these dialogues with everybody. And now I know people always say we wouldn't be anything without you, but it's literally true.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you guys weren't listening, enjoying, and commenting, this wouldn't exist. So I guess it's actually just Al and the Brandies. So like we're kind of pointless. So
He still thinks it's a real show with actual fans and not just my charade.
Wait, why
to
is
get
it
him to hang out with me?
my microphone's not even plugged in. Where
Okay,
am
thanks,
I?
bye! If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment. And if you want to check out videos of the show or see some supplemental images, you can also check us out on Instagram at OnBrandThePod or on TikTok at OnBrandThePodcast.
And as always, we may go off topic, but for the past year and for the next year, we will always be on brand.
Bye!
Bye.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.